Satisfashion. Are you satisfied? How old are you? What school do you go to? What job do you have? What job will you have? How much do you weigh? Are you tall enough? Skinny enough? Smart enough? Do you have enough? Are you fashionable? What brands do you buy? What stores do you shop at? What trends do you follow? Who's your icon? G-Dragon or the Kardashians? But what is fashion? And does it even matter? Fashion is important and it's prevalent in our society, whether you care or not. It helps dictate our culture and how we represent ourselves. It is the way that we construct our personal identity, and it is a way that we can express people in general, in groups, and alone. Fashion and its industry is often seen as this entity that is unattainable and a place where only the in are in. But fashion isn't just that. In fact, fashion in its purest form is a space where people can collaborate and share. There's no reality in owning a look. You can only own a logo, and even that is temporary. So in the fashion industry, we have seen and we know about how it kind of fosters an environment that feeds into kind of an unhealthy mental space, right? We have anorexic models, extremely time constraints that are just don't make any sense, right? We have all of these expectations, and perfection just leaks into the air when reality is in our face, right? But as Emma Wintour, the chief editor of Vogue USA, has put it, fashion is a reflection of our times. And the way that we use fashion in our day-to-day now is through looking at trends. And with these trends, we kind of get an idea of who we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to be, where we're supposed to be. And this kind of translates into our personal identity of who we are and what we are and why we are. But that is not what fashion is really supposed to be. We're supposed to use fashion in a sense that can liberate ourselves and set us apart from these spaces. And yet we use these trends as a code, a social code of how we need to act in our society. So I'm going to take a step back from this crazy entity of the fashion industry in this world that kind of none of us are probably a part of, and me included. And I'm going to ask you all a question. How many of you have ever compared yourself to someone else? And raise your hand and be honest. Have you ever compared your grades to a friend, an outfit, a hairstyle, a place where you've lived or traveled to? Okay, put your hands down. How many of you have ever been jealous of someone? Maybe something that they have or don't have, something that you have to deal with that they don't have to deal with. How many of you felt greed before? That's okay, this is a kind of more exposing question. And that's all right, okay? So mental health comes in many different forms and in many different situations, which is why it's so complicated. And in fact, mental health is a situation, and it's an illness, and it's a state of being, right, that we kind of want to tend to by calling people crazy or sending them to asylums or institutions, or even worse, with silence. But that is not the way that we need to deal with this situation, okay? Because we all have mental health, and how healthy it is depends on your own life and your own situations. It transgresses across a wide spectrum that knows no boundaries. And we need to respect that and celebrate it, rather than shun it and not talk about it. So in every society, each class deals with their mental health issues in a different way, right? So maybe you'll spend your money at Chanel and the high-end fashion boutique stores. Maybe you'll go to H&M, Forever 21, and go on large shopping sprees that you'll feel excited about for maybe days. And we also go on our, cheaper kind of binge shopping and go to Taobao or Amazon. Regardless of your financial status or your pleasure in shopping, right? We all shop, and that is a common factor in today's society around the world. Okay, globalization, we all know about it, right? And what we do with shopping is we use it to make ourselves happier, and we've made it into this kind of drug that makes us happy. And like all drugs, the high is temporary, and we come crashing down. When you come crashing down, that's up to your own situation, right? And here in Hong Kong, it's a consumerist culture that is celebrated, and so we all know about all these malls and shopping and stores, so you can't deny that you don't go shopping and that it's not around you, even if you hate it, okay? And even me, I have experienced and indulged in my own shopping sprees where I am running around feeling self-sufficiently and excited and powerful with all of my expertise or curiosity, and then to only find myself a few hours later dumbfounded and dissatisfied. So what can we do to kind of separate fashion from a negative idea and put it in a positive light? What can we do from taking it away from consumerism and the psychological dilemma of need versus want? Can we make fashion help us in our mental state? So I've been considering this topic for a while now and contemplating how I would present it. So I've been asking students that have been coming into my workshops what they think about the topic, all kinds of students. So I had one student come in a few weeks ago, he came in with some squishy flip-flops, a pair of basketball shorts, and a t-shirt. And he shared with me what he thought about fashion. And he said, I wear these clothes because they are a representation of my identity. Although I am not particularly fashionable, I have a certain style that I have to uphold to stay true to myself. And this is kind of in regards to those social codes that we all kind of abide to. And by whom? Well, we'll talk about that in a bit. Okay? And he says, if I could, I would wear pajamas every day. Okay, so he's wearing what he wants to wear. He's wearing what he thinks represents himself and what makes him comfortable, but he's not truly emulating who he really, really wants to be. And that's because we have this kind of idea that even though we're not at work and we have our work clothes, and at school we have our school clothes, and at church and special events, maybe we have our dress codes there, but even in our day-to-day, when we're outside of our homes, we have this imaginary kind of social code of how to look and how to dress and who to be. And now we have our social media and our television and all of these kinds of sources that feed into information and choices that we have that are bombarding all of our lives. Right? So how many of you have Facebook? Literally everyone. And how many of you have Instagram and Snapchat and WeChat and WhatsApp, and how many of you use Google? Yes. So in all of those spaces, fashion and its industry has made a home in those areas, right? But even before that, fashion was kind of constructing how to look and how to be and where you are in any society, kings, queens, centuries ago, yesterday, all through time. And it dictates how you're supposed to be in your space. But it doesn't have to be that way. These trends and these ideas that we are exposed to, they don't need to be rules. They can be simply as they are, which are ideas. They can be spaces for us to share, which is what fashion is. And so I want to share with you a little bit about how I try to use fashion in my life to improve my mental health. Okay, so I like to make clothes and I like to design. So in that process, which can be very time consuming, it's also very meditational. And before the process, during the process, and even after the process, which includes mathematics, creativity, patience, care, and love, all of that makes me enjoy the process even more and even stronger than any high that you can ever get from shopping or from consuming. So although that is my way of healing myself and enjoying my life and doing something productive and hopefully helping someone else because I like to give the things that I make, although that may not be your way of using fashion to help your mental health, there still can be a way, something that you can do. Okay, so I want to propose some ideas. So with fashion and these trends, instead of using them as rules like I've mentioned earlier, we can use them as ideas. And here in Hong Kong, a lot of students are used to wearing uniforms in primary school and secondary school. So once you kind of hit university, it's like your first time that you've been able to kind of not dress yourself, but really create an identity and actually dress yourself. And although having that uniform is very powerfully comfortable, not having a uniform is even more powerful. And instead of taking this moment of your life and feeling like you need to have more and more things and follow these kinds of ideas and styles, you can choose to accept who you are in this moment. And you can choose to embrace yourself rather than try and change yourself. And be excited and appreciate yourself for when you do change. And in that process, you'll learn what styles look good on you, what things look bad on you, and accept it. You don't need to fit into things that fit other people. You don't need to fit ideas that fit into other people. You don't need to go to schools that other people get into, right? You don't need jobs that other people want. It's the same with fashion. And the thing about fashion is that it can start with you, and it can be in your own space of your dorm, of your house, of your room. With jobs, with schools, that relies on so much more outside influence. Right? With fashion, you can control it more readily. And it's just a small way that you can help improve yourself and your mental health, which we all have.